Warm greetings, dear listener. Have you ever wondered why some people appear quiet, almost invisible, as if blending into the background of life? Yet when the moment arrives, they step forward and turn the tide of events with wisdom and courage. Have you asked yourself whether true value lies in the luxury and noise of external achievement, or in the quiet peace of an inner life lived with integrity? Today, we explore a story of a wise man who spent his youth making bold decisions, serving others with extraordinary ability, yet chose to end his days in a simple cottage of straw. His life whispers a profound truth. True brilliance is not found in ostentation, but in humility. Real success is not measured in mansions or applause, but in the calmness of a steady heart. Story of strength and silence. The man of our story was gifted from childhood, sharp in mind, steady in judgment. He possessed the ability to lead, to plan, to solve. But unlike many around him, he was not one who boasted of his knowledge, nor did he scramble loudly for recognition. Friends often remarked, he isn't like others. He does not chase glory. Yet when a crisis arises, he is always the one who stands firm. Throughout his life, he practiced restraint. On the surface, he was modest, sometimes overlooked by those who judged quickly. But in moments that required action, he revealed a different face, decisive, powerful, capable of moving mountains. Whether in the court of politics or among the common people, he carried himself with quiet dignity, yet his deeds were of great consequence. And yet, at the end of his life, he chose to retreat not into palaces or mansions, but into a humble cottage of straw. When asked why, he smiled and said, "The house may shield me from rain, but what I seek is a heart shielded from restlessness." This story challenges us. What truly matters? Do we chase appearances, or do we cultivate the invisible treasures of inner peace? The illusion of grandeur. Modern society loves grandeur. We admire skyscrapers, applause, titles, the display of wealth. But behind many shining facades lies fragility, insecurity, and constant hunger for more. Grandeur without grounding is like a tree with shallow roots. It may grow tall for a season, but the first storm brings collapse. The man in our story saw through this illusion. He knew that the applause of crowds fades, that possessions cannot be carried beyond time, that the glory of power is fleeting. So he invested not in mansions, but in character, not in luxury, but in wisdom, not in nice, but in quiet strength. This is why he chose the straw cottage. For him, it symbolized freedom from illusion. He did not reject life's pleasures. He simply understood they were not the measure of a life well lived. Living low-key. The hidden power of modesty. To live low-key does not mean to hide weakness. It means to choose humility over vanity, substance over performance. A low-key person is like the roots of a great tree, unseen, but essential. The tree stands tall not because it boasts of its branches, but because its roots quietly anchor it to the earth. Consider how he lived among his peers. He did not raise his voice to dominate conversation, nor did he rush to the front of attention. But when decisions mattered, his words carried weight, not because they were loud, but because they were true. This is the essence of power that comes from humility. In our lives, how often do we exhaust ourselves trying to prove, to show, to impress? At those who are truly secure do not need to prove anything. Their presence speaks for itself. Acting boldly, the balance of modesty and courage. To be low-key in living is not to be passive. On the contrary, those who live humbly often act with the greatest force when it matters most. The man in our story was known for this balance. He avoided unnecessariness, but when action was required, he moved decisively. This is the wisdom of living low-key, acting high. A life too focused on appearances wastes energy and performance. A life too passive fails to rise when needed. But the harmony of humility and courage creates a force that is unshakable. Ink of water, it flows silently, humbly finding its way around obstacles. But when gathered, it carves valleys, moves mountains, shapes landscapes. So it is with a humble life, quiet in daily presence, immense in decisive action. The straw cottage, as a symbol. The image of the straw cottage is powerful. It stands for simplicity, for freedom, for the stripping away of excess. For some, such a dwelling may appear a symbol of poverty, but for the wise, it is the richest of palaces because it shelters a heart at peace. When asked why he did not keep his wealth or build a mansion, the mind replied, "How many houses can I live in at once? How many fields can I carry when I leave this world? What I need is not more rooms, but more clarity." This is a lesson modern ears find hard to accept. We chase endlessly in more rooms, more possessions, more recognition, yet often feel emptier with every gain. The straw cottage whispers a reminder: true wealth is not measured in what we possess, but in how light our heart becomes. Essence for modern life. Today, we live in an age of visibility. Social media rewards the loud, the flashy, the exaggerated. Any of us feel pressured to show off achievements, to prove our worth in images, titles, possessions. But what if the greatest strength lies not in proving, but in being? Imagine living in a way that does not require constant validation. Imagine being content with enough, free from the burden of impressing others. Imagine finding power not in noise, but in the quiet certainty of your own integrity. This is the wisdom of the straw cottage. It teaches us that the measure of life is not how lively it is seen, but how deeply it is lived. Practicing humility and strength. How do we apply this wisdom in daily life? Here are small practices. When tempted to boast, pause and let your actions speak. When pressured to compete, ask, is this competition serving my growth or only my ego? When tempted by possessions, ask, do I need this or do I only want to be seen with this? When faced with a challenge, act boldly, not for applause, but because it is right. Each of these choices shapes character. Over time, they form a life that is steady, resilient, and free. Quiet brilliance. At the end of his life, the mind's cottage was simple, this day's unadorned. At this presence radiated a brilliance greater than gold. He woke each morning to sweep his nard, boil tea, read ancient texts, and welcomed the occasional visitor. To those who asked if he regretted living without grandeur, he replied, "My palace is my peace, a wealth is my wisdom, a legacy is my humility." This, dear listener, is true brilliance, a quiet, steady, invisible to the crowd, yet unforgettable to the heart. Thank you for watching this video. If this message has touched you, please like, subscribe, comment, and share, so others may also rediscover the freedom of living low-key and the power of acting boldly.
Before you leave, here's something special. In Buddhism, we believe that every encounter carries a deeper meaning. Would you like to discover your true soul connection, the one written into your destiny? Take the Soulmate Test today and unveil the hidden truths of your journey. Click the link below and begin your path now.
http://soulmate. You wisdom more, come, white.